I lived with a host family, and what happened was my host mother and father, I went to class one day and I came back to find that my host father had died.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
He had passed away. And so the neighbor came over to bring me the news. And again, at this point, I don't have a master's degree in Spanish. I am still learning Spanish. And she essentially told me, you need to get dressed now. I was just coming back from the gym. And I'm taking you to the funeral parlor. Everybody is there.
Wow.
This is 9 o'clock at night. And so my first reaction is, I don't understand anything you're saying. Like, right? Like, you're speaking to me in another language. I don't speak Spanish. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, as she's telling me. And so I'm literally like doubting and questioning myself, like, is this real? But sure enough, we went to the funeral parlor. My host mother, who was brokenhearted, had me sit next to her, right, in front of a crowds of people who had gathered. And at the same time, she is crying. And in Spanish, she's saying, my daughter, what are we going to do?
To you?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What was your reaction to that?
First of all, I was like shocked that she had children, right? Older children. So that she thought of me in that way. Secondly, I'm like, out of all of your guests in the funeral home, I'm the one, like 2 seats sitting beside you. Again, the body was behind us. So people had to greet us, then go view the body, and then here we were. So then we go back home and phone is ringing and I'm fielding calls about this funeral and what's happening in my broken Spanish, the best that I could. And then on the day of the funeral, I went, thousands of people in the church, yet there I am, the only brown person, but yet close enough to her that she felt of value to me. So I think everywhere I've gone, I've had very rich experiences and stories, and the people have been amazing.
If I'm your parents, I'm calling you and being like, Linnea, I don't want you in this situation. Come home. Did you tell your parents?
Actually, it was the other way around. I called my parents. This was before we had cell phones, but I'm not that old. I was at a like payphone thing where you have to use the card. Right? Do you remember the card that you had to dial, an international card? And I when my mom picked up, I started crying profusely. I remember that call, just gasping for air, like couldn't get it out fast enough. And if you could imagine like what your mom is thinking when you're calling internationally and you can't, and you're just sobbing. Exactly. So I'm calling her like, my host father died. He died. You know what I mean?
And she's like, how?
And it was literally, you know, I think for me, just a relief to talk to my mom and my family. But then also realizing like this is their reality and how can I be of support to this grieving, amazing lady. And that was my experience. The other thing I'll say is that my roommates were actually out of town that weekend on a long weekend. So they were in Mallorca chilling.
So you're the only one having to emotionally and literally deal with all this.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was a student at the University of Salamanca, Universidad de Salamanca, and taking summer classes. And so my teacher, when she got wind that this had occurred, she wanted me to do a presentation about it.
Whoa.
I'm so not joking.
Is she Spanish or is she American?
She was neither. I don't know. I think she was from Bolivia. But I wasn't up for it.
Clearly.
What are you supposed to do?
What was the presentation on?
I don't know, like to explain the funeral and the funeral home and the process and everything. I don't know.
While
That's
in Spain?
Serious. Well,
While I was in Spain, yes.
I mean, technically you're doing a presentation right now about it. So.
I mean, but I've also grown. Like it wasn't like fresh off, you know.
That's true.